So welcome, everybody. It is my absolute honor to be for you today as a member of the board of Majority Action. Today, we gather not only to celebrate the incredible work that we've done together, but also to mark a significant moment in our journey, a transition of leadership that reflects the growth, vision, and values of our organization. So I want to take a moment and celebrate the extraordinary contributions of our founding executive director, Eli Kasargod-Staub. For years now, Eli has been the guiding force behind our mission, a leader whose strategic insight and analysis, coupled with his commitment to excellence, has set the foundation for all we've accomplished. But tonight is also, or today is also a celebration of the future. It is with great pride that we're announcing, the introduction of our new co-directors, Bryant and Whitney. Both have been integral members of our team, bringing deep expertise, passion, and dedication to our work. And their leadership reflects the very core of who we are as an organization, committed to advancing equity, justice, and climate solutions that center the communities most impacted. So I just wanted to say that this has been an amazing period of time for the organization, and we're so excited about the future. So we are recording this event, so I just wanted folks to know that. And there are some housekeeping rules that I think are going to be on the screen. Put the questions and comments into the chat. Make sure you're muting yourself if you're not speaking. We are recording, but we're going to stop it before the happy hour. And, for our collective safety, if you don't respect the space, guests will be removed. Now, I want to introduce the board of directors, the folks who serve with me on this amazing board. So we want to put that. Are we putting a slide up, or you just want me to?
We're not putting a slide up, Renee. If you could just introduce them. Thank you.
Introduce them. Myself, Nadira Nareen, Danick Murphy, Janet Shank, Carolyn Staub, and James Rucker. That is brain trust behind this amazing organization, and we want to thank them for their service and for all the amazing work that they've done as we prepare the organization for this amazing transition. So I'm going to transition it over now to my colleague, Nadira, and she is going to take it from here.
Thanks so much, Renee, and hi, everybody. Welcome to our celebration today. What an extraordinary moment we're in to gather with all of you as we celebrate Majority Action's next chapter. I am Nadira Nareen, Director of Strategic Initiatives at ICCR, and a proud Majority Action board member. In these uncertain times, as we witness sweeping changes in our economic landscape and political environment, our mission to organize this transformative power of capital for a just and sustainable world has never been more critical, and our potential for impact has never been greater. We have three key purposes for our gathering today. First, we want to honor and celebrate the foundation we've been built together. Every person on this call has played a vital role in shaping Majority Action's impressive track record of impact. And again, we celebrate you and we thank you for joining. And to our co-founder and outgoing ED, Eli, we thank you. Second, today's celebration marks a milestone for Majority Action as we welcome two visionary leaders, Whitney Shepard and Bryant, Sewell, as our new co-executive directors. Their arrival comes at a pivotal moment when our work to build a just and sustainable economy demands more urgency and innovative thinking. Their combined expertise and bold vision will propel us into an exciting new era of transformation and growth. Finally, we're here to fuel this vision with action, as Renee laid out. The scale of challenges we face in creating an equitable economy requires robust resources. Your support today will directly power our ability to seize critical opportunities and tackle systemic barriers head on. Throughout our time together, you'll see a donation link in the chat. Every contribution, regardless of size, strengthens our collective power to drive meaningful change. So thank you in advance. This is a moment of tremendous possibility. With your partnership and support, we can accelerate our impact and build the just economy our communities deserve. Now, I'm honored to turn it over to our co-directors, Whitney and Bryant, to help kick us off on the celebration. Thanks, Whitney and Bryant.
Oh, thank you, Renee. Thank you, Nadira. I am overwhelmed with feels. This is so wonderful to be with all of you and just to see your faces. It's just, yeah, an extraordinary moment. For those who don't know me, I'm Whitney Shepard, co-executive director of Majority Action, and I am so, so deeply grateful to have each and every one of you here with us today, especially during this time between like the 2 holiday breaks where we just try to fit everything into it and we just really want to be curled up by the fire. So your presence, I know your time is precious. So your presence, your support, and your generous financial contributions are so greatly appreciated. Thank you to our board, our wonderful co-host, our amazing staff who is holding it down behind the scenes. We are so grateful to have you here as we celebrate where we've been and where we have the power to go. I want to start by grounding us in what we do, where we do it, and why it matters. At Majority Action, we have an unwavering vision and demand for a better future. Our purpose, our mission is to organize capital for a just and sustainable world, one where we are in a symbiotic harmony with our home, with our planet, where all workers, all communities, all people are able to live with dignity and fair access to the economy, of which we are the backbone. We believe that it is unacceptable that in today's day and age, more than half of people of color and nearly a quarter of all white people live in economic insecurity, being unnecessarily made to struggle with things like paying rent, bills, and buying groceries. The truth is, in today's world, prosperity and poverty are corporate constructs. Corporations, particularly the biggest ones, dominate and shape our lives in ways that we don't often see or recognize. It's not that all corporations are bad or only do bad things, no. But the most powerful ones do have a disproportionate impact on the conditions that we face. However, despite their outsized power and influence, too often people often turn primarily to electoral politics and government to drive systemic change, which, while absolutely critical, let me be clear, is insufficient in being able to course correct for a more just and sustainable future to scale. Because corporations play a key role in driving harmful business as usual that exacerbates the worsening conditions being felt by everyday Americans, such as climate change, racial inequity, and income inequality, it is crucial to coordinate and organize efforts to interrupt their most harmful practices, which we proudly do with so many of you on today's call. And this brings me to the where Majority Action focuses, the corporate governance ecosystem. This is where companies are run, they make their business decisions, such as how they allocate resources, how they treat their workers, communities, and the environment. And the thing is, shareholders, those who own stakes in those companies, hold incredible power in those decisions. For example, they can vote corporate directors, the highest officials in a company, on and off a company's board of directors, and therefore define the terms of responsible corporate leadership. Too often we think of a shareholder as some like rich guy in a suit, but the truth is workers, communities, those of us with retirement investments and various institutions that serve us have trillions and trillions of dollars invested in the markets. So why does that matter? Without our labor, our data, our dollars, and our assets, these corporations would not exist. As Ms. Renee Manley always says, it's our money, and we have the right to demand how it's invested. The problem is too often workers and frontline communities are locked out of corporate decision-making processes that impact them the most. When we understand that the economic, political, and social grievances of workers and grassroots communities all have corporate ties in some form or another, we cannot ignore the need for a multifaceted movement strategy of which capital strategies plays a key role in order to affect real change. As a Black-led, majority BIPOC, and women-run organization, Majority Action operates with the unique ability to provide intersectional research, tools, and strategies, and to organize across diverse communities, helping investors and other stakeholders alike understand and engage with outsized corporate power. We're here to challenge those who resist change, support those who want to do better, and build a brighter future for all. Now it's my extreme pleasure to hand it over to my co-executive director, Bryant Sewell, who will share a bit more about Majority Action's theory of change.
Absolutely. And thank you, Whitney, for that amazing introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. And to do so, I want to start by asking everyone to envision an iceberg. So above the surface lies the visible threats of an escalating climate crisis, widening inequalities, and the erosion of democracy. These challenges demand action, but we often overlook the far larger submerged mass beneath the surface, the forces that allow these threats to persist. This unseen foundation is where much needed work lies and where majority action operates. At the heart of this submerged iceberg lies one of the most influential drivers of systemic harm, large US-based asset managers, just 3 of which routinely control around 25% of the voting power at the biggest companies in our country, in our economy. These asset managers use their outsized voting power to rubber stamp the actions of companies that pollute the planet, exploit workers, and undermine communities. Majority Action's mission is to bring the hidden portion of this iceberg into full view, redirecting attention and accountability to where it is most needed. And under the leadership of Eli, Majority Action has become the leading expert on the immense power asset managers wield and the vital role that they must play in addressing climate change and other global challenges. The investor ecosystem is shifting because of our efforts, but we're just getting started. The next phase of our work will focus on broad collective organizing to hold asset managers accountable, because the urgency of the moment demands more than managing the threats above the surface. It's about dismantling the shield that allows harmful corporate practices to persist. By dismantling this hidden mass, we can transform how capital shapes our lives for the better and bring about a world in which people and investors are working together to build foundations of a just and sustainable economy for all. Today, we ask for your support to expand this critical work. Together, I know we can shift the balance to ensuring that the investor ecosystem becomes a force for good, and one that no longer keeps harmful practices afloat, but instead drives the change our world so desperately needs. And I'm going to hand it back to Renee and Nadira. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Sorry for my place here. Again, just want to talk about how far we've come, and I believe I want to introduce our partners. I'm sorry, our partners that are going to be speaking today, and there's a lot of folks on this call that could speak to their collaboration with Majority Action, but really want to bring up and introduce one of our most important strategic partners, and it's by video, and that's Brad Lander, the New York City Comptroller. So we're going to roll that video. Thank you.
Hi, I'm New York City Controller Brad Lander. As part of my job as investment advisor for the New York City retirement systems, it's my responsibility to make sure that we use our power as shareholders to guarantee good corporate governance that's thoughtful about risks in the broader economy that jeopardize the retirement security of those teachers and firefighters and school crossing guards. And Majority Action is a critical partner in that work. Look, you've heard it. There's a backlash right now, a rampant denialism, trying to pretend like racial inequality, like the climate crisis, like consumer protection issues, like corruption is not a risk to the long-term thriving of our economy and to the returns that we're required to deliver to our beneficiaries. But you know, and I know that it is. When we pay attention to good corporate governance, when we make sure that workers' rights to organize are protected, that consumers are protected, that we're paying attention to risks of bias in AI or the climate threats that we're all facing, when we pay attention to those risks and are thoughtful about how to build a thriving economy for the long term, that makes companies that are better managed and run, that deliver better returns for their shareholders and their beneficiaries, and that promote a broadly growing and thriving economy that works better for all of us. So look, we're not going to take one step back from our responsible investing work, and that's why we're so grateful to work together with Majority Action. Your research and initiatives are critical in this work. We're grateful for your partnership. Eli, congratulations on building this great organization, and Whitney and Bryant, I promise you, we look forward to continue working together with you to guarantee good corporate governance in the companies in our portfolio, that we'll keep taking that responsible investing approach, that brings such good returns to our shareholders and beneficiaries and helps build a more just, sustainable, and thriving economy for everyone. Thanks very much.
Wasn't that an amazing video from New York City Controller Brad Lander? It's so exciting to have a great partner like him. But we have other great partners too. And I want to bring up next Josh Zinner, who's the Executive Director of the Interfaith Center for Corporate Responsibility and a key strategic partner and ally of Majority Action.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you so much, Renee. And it's a real honor to be here speaking. ICCR is a 53-year-old coalition of over 300 institutional investors representing more than 4 trillion in assets under management. And our focus is on engaging as shareholders with corporations on critical issues that impact people and planet. Simply put, our coalition contains some of the most active investors and NGOs in our field who are concerned with both investor responsibility and corporate accountability. In this way, we've worked closely and collaboratively with Majority Action, and Eli is an ICCR member and key ally for years. When Majority Action first came on the scene, and when we first connected with Eli, it was pretty clear that Majority Action would be a key partner in helping us to take on some really intractable power dynamics. One of our earliest collaborations was on the question of gun safety, where we partnered with Majority Action to file an exempt solicitation at Sturm Ruger, calling for a no vote on several directors. And we're so impressed with the depth of research and analysis that Majority Action brought to the table. The call for climate expertise in the boardroom to deal with the crisis facing our planet was another core Majority Action campaign that resonated with so many of our investor members. And Majority Action's ongoing research and partnership has been absolutely vital in our joint work to hold the biggest asset managers accountable for their backsliding on proxy voting on climate, racial equity, and other key issues. And Eli's really been a leader in the field from the start, using creative strategies to help drive home with investors the concept of systemic portfolio risk and the fact that corporate externalities like greenhouse gas emissions, a lack of worker power, and racial injustice have broad societal and economic consequences that impact investment portfolios. So a huge thank you, Eli, for all of your many contributions to our collective work. And of course, this is a whole new chapter for Majority Action. We're entering not only a new chapter for Majority Action, but a whole lot of fundamental challenges on the horizon, and that's probably an understatement. And we'll all have to work collaboratively and creatively on new strategies to hold the line and continue progress on so many critical issues. And no organization is going to be as critical in this as Majority Action. As Majority Action begins this new chapter and transitions to new leadership, all of us at ICCR really look forward to working closely with you, Whitney, and with you, Bryant, and with the entire Majority Action staff to be our close partner and ally in carrying forward our important work. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Josh. That was amazing. You know, we have a lot of great partners, and I'm sure almost, there's over 80 people on this call, and any of you probably could have speak to, your successful collaboration with Majority Action. But we want to bring up one of our key funding partners, and that's Laura Campos. Laura is with the Nathan Cummings Foundation, and she serves as the Senior Director of Economic Justice. So Laura, very excited to hear your comments on today's celebration.
Thanks, Renee. I'm really excited to be here. I'm here on behalf of the Nathan Cummings Foundation. The foundation is a multi-generational family foundation working to advance racial, economic, and environmental justice. And like most other foundations, we give grants to drive progress on our mission. However, unlike most other foundations, we've also placed a really heavy emphasis on driving progress via shareholder activism. And for us, that's a big reason that we've supported Majority Action's work for so many years. They have done really incredible work to leverage the power of investors to hold asset managers, corporations, and corporate directors responsible for their impacts on racial equity and the climate crisis. We've funded Majority Action basically since its inception because it's been extremely adept at using governance-focused active ownership strategies to hold companies accountable and to increase board competency for managing the risks of environmental and social issues. For us, the critical role Majority Action plays in holding giant fund management companies accountable for their votes on key issues that matter to the Nathan Cummings Foundation and its work to further racial, economic, and environmental justice is another reason that we've supported Majority Action so consistently over the years. Today, as we've sort of heard alluded to previously, we're seeing asset managers and corporations that are backing away from their commitments on both climate and racial justice. And, votes on shareholder proposals are going down, meaning that investors have less leverage to push for changes that benefit both society and the bottom line. And that's why we think Majority Action's work is more important today than ever before. So I want to say that Eli has done an absolutely stellar job of driving change at the helm of Majority Action. And I'm so grateful that we now have Whitney and Bryant to lead us into this next chapter of Majority Action's critical work. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. So now I'm going to bring up my brother, my colleague, Stefan Coward, with the Hip Hop Caucus. He is their economic justice director, and he's been one of the people at the racial justice table that Majority Action has put together. So, Stefan, I'm excited to hear what you have to say, and welcome to the celebration.
Thank you for having me. It definitely is a celebration indeed. So my name is Stefan Coward. I am the Economic Justice Director here at Hip Hop Caucus. And Hip Hop Caucus is a national nonpartisan organization that focuses on the liberation of Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities across the world. In our campaigns, we fight for climate, racial, economic justice for communities of color. And so within my role, I lead a campaign called Bank Black and Green. It's a multi-year campaign encouraging Black banks to commit against funding the fossil fuel industry or mass incarceration and redeploy that capital into frontline communities of color. And thanks to the support of impact investors and our partners, we've raised $37 million in pledged deposits towards our $180 million goal since October. And when we just launched the strategy with Addison Social Capital. And the reason why I bring this up is because being in partnership with organizations like Majority Action is invaluable to building power needed to attain this long-term victories that we're looking to have and live in a world where we can invest in our community's well-being as a priority. Last year, Whitney invited me to join the Racial Justice Capital Strategies table, along with other leading civil rights organizations and racial justice organizations. The table, which Majority Action convenes in service to create an important infrastructure, has impacted stakeholders to be brought into the stakeholder investor ecosystem. And being in partnership with Majority Action has allowed me to engage with top financial institutions such as Citibank and State Street in regards to the racial equity audit. And being a part of this table was key to the work that we did to be able to partner with Addison Social Capital to put forward that impact investor strategy that I was speaking to you about earlier. And so I have to say that my favorite thing about Majority Action is the people. You all are so incredible. And I am honored to be a part of this group, and I cannot wait to see what happens next.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Josh and Brad, for sharing your wonderful comments today. I really appreciate you all. Your partnership and the work you do means so much to us, and many of you have been working with Majority Action for a long time. But there is one person who's been there from the very beginning, working alongside Eli to bring this organization to life. That person is our board member, James Rucker, who I'm happy to pass the mic on to now.
Thanks so much, Nadira. My name is James Rucker, and I've had the privilege of wearing many hats throughout my career as a software architect, startup founder. But for the last 20 years, my focus has been on creating and supporting efforts that empower everyday people to pull the levers of power and shift them to serve everyone, not just those in positions of power or in proximity to it. The driving principle behind my work has been pretty simple and clear. It's that concentrated power, when disconnected from the people it affects, whether in large corporations, in government, or in media, is a dangerous thing. And a big part of the remedy lies in people acting collectively to hold those in power accountable and force them to change their behavior. This idea led to one of the most successful initiatives I've been a part of, which is Color of Change. When we launched in 2005, we saw that the civil rights field was not fully maximizing its power to confront racial injustice or to seize critical opportunities to challenge the behavior of powerful actors through collective action. In 2017, I met Eli. I wish I had a lot of time because it's a beautiful, fun story. But as we were talking, it became clear that there was this area of work that I hadn't been paying attention to, right? And so he helped me see a critical disconnect, this time between the power of large, publicly traded corporations and asset managers and the interest of investors, both large and small, who enable that power through their investments. The disconnect was staggering. A lack of awareness and certainly a lack of collective power to hold these players accountable allowed short-term thinking and decisions that served only a narrow elite to remain the status quo. So we decided to start Majority Action. It was first an experiment. It was an experimental project where we fused the campaigning strategies I'd been using with Eli's background in capital strategies work and shareholder engagement. Building something new from the ground up requires a few things. It requires confidence, intelligence, and I would say a little bit of audacity, right? But to endure, to gain traction and truly reshape a field, it takes even more. It takes vision, perseverance, and the ability to rally others behind the mission. And for more than 6 years, Eli has led Majority Action with all these qualities, achieving remarkable milestones and fundamentally changing the landscape of corporate accountability. What Eli has built with the support of so many on this call is formidable. It's game-changing. And it's now a vital part of the broader ecosystem working to hold corporations and corporate power accountable. As organizations evolve, leadership transitions are not only natural, they're an essential part of the continued growth and innovation for an organization. And it's why, on the one hand, I'm so grateful to all that Eli has done and have been excited to support him in this work. I'm so grateful to see Whitney and Bryant stepping up to lead Majority Action moving forward. They bring a wealth of knowledge, experience, rigor, and energy that will sustain and expand this critical work. And so I want to thank Eli, I want to thank Whitney and Bryant, and I also want to express deep gratitude to all of you, partners, collaborators, and funders who have supported Majority Action. Your commitment has been invaluable. And as has been said already, to keep this momentum going, we need everyone's support, right? Majority Action depends on partners, collaborators, and certainly donors who believe in this mission and are willing to invest in it. Your donations are essential to continuing this work to ensure that powerful institutions are held accountable and align with the long-term interest of shareholders and are responsible actors in society, especially given their outsized power. So as we look ahead, I hope you'll continue to join me in supporting Majority Action as it moves forward into this next exciting chapter. Thank you so much.
Oh, all right. James, thank you so much. And to our partners who spoke earlier, really, really thank you so much for your kind words, for your powerful partnership. I can't wait to continue to build with you all. Your comments remind us where we've been together, the collective muscles that we've been flexing, and where that means we can go next. If you all will do me a favor and lend me your imagination for the next few minutes, I want to take a moment to whisper some words of encouragement to it and ask for its committed involvement in our road ahead. So here's the thing. Too often there's a limited frame in regards to how we understand the impact of systemic issues such as racial inequity and climate change. A frame that misses the point. And if we're missing the point, we certainly can't address it. If we continue to frame systemic racism as a problem that only has a negative impact on people of color and fail to understand the ways in which racism is in large part an elitist profit-driving strategy that keeps a worker class divided and therefore conquerable, we miss the point. If we fail to understand that even for wealthy white people, racism stunts their ability to adapt, understand, and work across lines of difference in an increasingly globalized and diverse world, then we miss the point. If we fail to make the connection between the stolen land and labor that set the stage for exploitative business models, exploitative models inherited and used by today's giant corporations, including those that are now the highest emitters and heating the planet in which we all live to untenable temperatures, we miss the point. We must expand our frame to debunk the false dichotomy of us versus them and realize that it's only us, and it always has been. One planet, one people. Hate and harm are in an inescapable feedback loop. You cannot hate or harm another without hating or harming yourself. With this expanded frame, we can understand that our unwillingness to truly grapple with systemic issues that threaten our collective existence as self-destructive and illogical. Because let's be clear, racism and climate change are not only a yoke on our economy, they are a yoke on our evolution as a species. This is the point. The fact that humanity has gotten to a place where in the name of profit and power, corporations have practically free reign to literally poison our food, our water, and our air supplies, which in case we forgot are essential elements for human survival, that is self-destructive and illogical. The reality that some of us are choosing to attack critical race theory and DEI and to double down on racism, which is quite frankly a primitive form of animalistic tribalism, as opposed to choosing to evolve beyond it, that is self-destructive and illogical. Our inability to adapt and to instead stick to old, outdated, outplayed ways that are killing us means we as a species are losing the biological game. If it is truly about the survival of the fittest, then we need to redefine what it means to be the fittest and to remember that animals that do not respect the delicate balance of the ecosystem do not survive, period, no matter how many dollars you have. So for those of us within the responsible investor community, ESG is a first step to respect that delicate balance. For those less familiar, ESG investing is a framework that measures how a business is performing as it relates to environmental, social, and governance factors that are critical for long-term value creation. However, many in the community also wonder what lies beyond ESG. Perhaps the future is evolved investing. If evolution is measured by real change, then how do we get there? What would need to be true? At Majority Action, we believe change happens through a few critical pathways. The first is a shared analysis and narrative that we build together that accurately names and frames the problem. We need a shared analysis informed by research, diverse stories, and historical context to scale the wall of fraud and disinformation that keeps us purposely confused, apathetic, and blocks our progress. Another key pathway is transformative, visionary organizing. Organizing that centers bottom-up solidarity as the antidote to top-down, elite-driven decisions which often fail to address the real needs of everyday people. This looks like shareholders pushing for policies that protect workers, like freedom of association and collective bargaining. It looks like holding companies accountable for their racial equity and climate impact and to make sure they do something about it. Ambitious, yet right-sized, as unlearning and transforming takes time and is a process that cannot be forced or rushed. Another pathway is the need for bold innovators and forceful stewards, community, business, and investor leaders like you all who are brave enough to meet the challenge of innovating for the greater good, including for our future generations. Leaders who embrace difference, debate, and accountability as gifts, not threats. And of course, we need alternative systems and policies to support this new reality we are creating. We need to imagine the structures that are much further along on the arc that bends towards justice and to start building them now. Now, I know we're living in incredibly polarized times, but here's the good news. We are exactly where we need to be. History shows us that polarization is the precursor to meaningful social change. The time is now to make our case boldly, bravely, and with conviction. Before I came to the stage today, my colleague Radhika reminded me of a great tip. Turn any feelings of nervousness into feelings of excitement. And what a perfect reminder for all of us. Yes, there's uncertainty ahead, but instead of being nervous about what the future holds, let's be excited about what we can achieve. Let's focus on our purpose and the possibilities we can create together. At Majority Action, we are thrilled to have this opportunity to do that, just that, side by side with all of you. Thank you for being here, for believing in this work, believing in us, and for your continued commitment to change. I'm going to hand the mic back to Bryant to allow him to share more about our vision for the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking us to church, Whitney. I love that vision of the future you just outlined. And I was just going to start by highlighting what Majority Action will focus on in the near term. So our team continues to engage with key investor partners through post-election discussions to identify ways to maintain pressure on asset managers and systemically important companies amid shifting political dynamics. So here's what we gathered so far. One, investors are becoming more strategic in assessing climate change and in addressing climate change and DEI-related issues. This doesn't mean that they're retreating from direct confrontation with corporations, rather emphasizing the need for increased due diligence on asset managers. And this scrutiny is justifiable, as asset managers will increasingly act counter to their fiduciary duty to long-term investors without any legislative or policy guardrails in place under the incoming administration. Investors see this increased due diligence as a less encumbered pathway to engagement and evaluation of their asset managers. So the question is, where does Majority Action come in? So we provide the strategic research and tools necessary to hold asset managers and other service providers accountable. For example, Whitney emphasized the role of capital market strategies in grappling with threats to our collective existence. And our research confirmed this approach was evident during the last AGM season, when shareholders provided broad support to 18 key proposals at major S&P 500 companies. These proposals, addressing diversity in employment, artificial intelligence, greenhouse gas targets, and political contributions and lobbying, aim to mitigate the material threats of the climate crisis, inequality, and democratic erosion. Each of these 18 proposals was supported by influential proxy advisors, ISS, and Glass Lewis, and received 30% shareholder backing, over 30% shareholder backing. However, BlackRock and Vanguard, the two largest asset managers, unjustifiably, excuse me, I'm sorry about that, unjustifiably demonstrated stark misalignment with these efforts. BlackRock supported just one of the 18 proposals that I mentioned, and Vanguard supported none. So recall their outsized voting power. Had both of these asset managers supported these proposals, at least 12 of these would have achieved majority support and would have achieved majority support with their backing. So just want to reiterate that. So there were 18 proposals that were on the docket, at various companies at the S&P 500 in the S&P 500 index, and 12 of these proposals would have achieved majority support had both Vanguard and BlackRock supported the proposals. So this failure represents a missed opportunity to align capital expenditures and business practices with sustainable value creation at some of the most systemically important companies. But more importantly, majority support for these proposals would have signaled a seismic shift in the investor ecosystem and laid the groundwork for even more significant wins in the future. This is just one of the examples of how Majority Action's research exposes the disinformation, delaying action, and equips investors to demand accountability from asset managers who continue to prioritize institutional success over the responsibilities to their clients. We will win when we harness the collective power, our collective power as clients, to demand that asset managers uphold their fiduciary duties. Earlier, I spoke to Majority Action's why, unlocking the transformative power of capital for good. But I'd also like to share my personal why, because in the times ahead, we're going to have to be able to dig deep and go beyond justification of ESG as good for the bottom line to sustain ourselves. The roots of both sides of my family are in Selma, Alabama. I cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the scene of Bloody Sunday, every time I go to both of my grandmother's houses. When she was far too young to drive, my mom parked cars around the neighborhood because you could get fired by your boss for attending organizing meetings. My uncle, her brother, marched on Bloody Sunday and was arrested, beaten, and put in solitary confinement. These experiences and the spirit born of them are ingrained in me. If you're joining us today, just like me, I know your efforts to bring about that future that Whitney outlined isn't just work. It's a responsibility, one of carrying on a legacy and doing our part to build a better future for the next generation. The Emmett Pettus Bridge has an arc that doesn't allow you to see what lies on the other side. And I just want everyone, when you're feeling deterred by headwinds, to recall your personal why, or invoke the spirit of John Lewis, my family, or the countless other marchers who pressed forward into the unknown, because they were rooted in undying and universal truths, just as we must be going forward. And so I want to thank everyone again for being here with us. I'm really excited to hand the mic over to the man of the hour, Eli Kasargod-Staub. So Eli, I'll turn it over to you.
You guys. A lot of feelings. Thank you all. I just want to start off by saying I am so thankful for every single person who has gathered here today, because here's the truth. No one ever does anything worthwhile alone. Literally all of the breakthroughs that Majority Action has achieved would not have been possible without the support of everyone here, both professional colleagues and partners across the entire ecosystem of corporate governance, to the friends and family that have our backs as we take on this important, challenging, and urgent work. This milestone is a big deal for us, and we wouldn't be here without all of you. Thank you. I'm also very thankful next for the invitation to close my time leading Majority Action with a few forward-looking reflections. So here are a couple thoughts. First, we are living in a time that is going to require tremendous moral courage. The incoming administration is poised to round up and deport millions, or to try to at least, to try to take a sledgehammer to government functions we all depend on, and undermine civil rights and liberties that enable us to hold political leaders accountable, to say nothing of the planetary arson that they want to commit with reckless fossil fuel expansion. This is going to be a time in which every single person here is going to face choices about whether and how to show up and stand up for the future that we deserve. Coming together in spaces like this to see and support each other is so important for us because it helps us know we're in this together. Second, the work of corporate accountability and building our power through shareholder action is going to be more important than ever. And that's for two reasons. Number one, historically, traditionally, that when folks trying to make progress are shut out of halls of policy power federally, corporate accountability tends to matter so much. Bryant and Whitney published an incredible op-ed very recently in Impact Alpha. I think the team will drop or may already have dropped a link into the chat if you haven't already checked it out, spotlighting actually how bleak things looked in 2016 and then how much winning we did between 2017 and 2020 across this world of corporate governance, how many breakthroughs we achieved, and in ways that we never would have been able to see at the start of it. But there's something more about why this space is going to feel so important. And that's because at least I have the sense, my reflection on the election is it feels like people across the political spectrum are screaming out that their lives and futures feel out of control. That the more that we can bring everyday people into the understanding that there are pools of money that are supposed to be working for us, and that when they do, we all win, the more that we can contribute to building a politics in which we feel empowered to make a change and believe that it is possible to win the world we deserve. And then third, in the coming 4 years are going to be a time that we're going to require tremendous strategic flexibility and courageous collaboration. And that if we do, there is so much we can win. Now, to be clear, that's not to say that what worked before is going to be necessarily what will work now. We're going to face unprecedented challenges given the prospect of 4 years in which the incoming administration will likely try to break the will and strength and resolve of responsible investors. But we're also facing the prospect of 4 years of executive branch-driven efforts to enable many corporations, private equity and hedge fund managers, and other unscrupulous actors to loot and pillage the economy, with workers, communities, and long-term investors all set up to be left holding the bag. But that also means that there are major opportunities to design and run campaigns that can unite our stakeholders, split that coalition, and reframe the debates. And if we do, we can keep making breakthroughs and open space for even bigger wins in the future. And then finally, I just want to close by saying that I could not be prouder of or more thankful for the entire Majority Action staff, the entire Majority Action board, and their dedication to the organization's mission, the work, and each other. And I could not possibly be more excited for the new strategic directions and heights that Whitney and Bryant's leadership will take this work. With them at the helm, the staff and board all throwing down, the future of this, and all of you here, the future of this organization and the work is in very good hands. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Eli. Love it. Actually, yeah, we're all coming up on. Yeah, we would love to just take a moment, get back Eli on screen with a spotlight if we're able to. Or I don't know if there's only a limit for 2, but either way, we wanted to just take a brief moment in the program also to express our deep gratitude and appreciation for you, Eli, as our leader, as our teacher, as a comrade. We've just gained so much. It's been one of the biggest gifts in my life to be able to work with you at Majority Action, to learn from you. Your strategic insight into how power operates is unmatched. Your willingness to throw down in the trenches with us is just like, it's life-changing. As for me as an emerging leader, it's something that I really am holding central to how I would like to show up in the world. Your fierce defense of justice is something to be cherished and celebrated. You've impacted my life in ways that I won't be able to describe. All of our lives, or so many lives, so many countless lives. And I really hope you take a moment to celebrate yourself. And I hope you are deeply proud of what you've done here and the opportunities that you have set for a better future. And so would love to just take a quick moment to share a quick gift that we will be giving to Eli that should be on his door. Could put a slide up, please, Sarah. Thank you. And shout out to ICCR who gave us this really cool idea for, investor nerds. We kind of know the resolved clause of the programs on the proposals. And so we're offering you a plaque, Eli, to really commend you for your dedication and lasting influence in this community. And we know, again, it's going to continue to serve us for the long term. So thank you so much again. And I'll kick it to Bryant just to also give his quick thanks and appreciation.
Just want to second everything you just said, 100% Whitney. I think what really stands out for me, Eli, is your energy and the dedication that you bring, that you brought to Majority Action and to work every day. And it's been a tremendous opportunity to work with you. And as Whitney mentioned, it's an opportunity to learn so much and stretch yourself and collaborate with a great thought leader in the field. I can't say it enough. And so, I think this definitely is not goodbye. It's we'll see you later. See you soon, probably sooner than later in the field.
Right. Take a little break.
And we hope you take a moment to celebrate yourself, what you built and accomplished, and also importantly, rest, because we do need you in the fight ahead. Thanks again, Eli, for everything.
You guys.
All the feels, absolutely.
For anybody who doesn't, I love that we get to give everybody here, which includes so many friends and family who don't spend their days and too often nights deep in the work of shareholder strategies, just that little glimpse into our little world here with that gift could not be more perfect. I will cherish it. Thank you.
Thanks, Eli. We're going to hand it back to Renee and Nadira to take us to our next section of the program. Thank you again, everyone.
Y'all, this is just so dope. I am having a great time. It feels like a celebration. And, I can imagine how dope it would be if we were all in together in person. But to everybody that's here today, supporters, partners, friends, and family, I want to personally thank you for standing with Majority Action. Your commitment to this work and to this organization fuels our mission, and your presence here tonight reminds us all of the power of community, which is just so important when we're doing this work. But it's even more important now in this moment. So we want to give you an opportunity here to raise your hands in the chat, to share your comments, to speak to your experience working with Majority Action, and to really share with us what you're excited about in this moment. Yes, there are challenges. That is real, right? But there are opportunities everywhere. And I believe you're on this call today because you want to see the same type of future that Majority Action that Whitney and Bryant and Eli talked about. So raise your hands. Let's get some comments in. You will unmute you so you can share your thoughts about working with MA. Oh, and as Laura reminds me, you can also submit written comments as well via the chat. So let's see some hands go up. I'm ready to hear from you guys.
Hey,
So
group,
anybody?
I have to leave for another meeting with a venture capital group that's trying to raise money for BIPOC companies and funds. But this is the most exciting room I've been in since Kamala Harris got announced that she was running for president of the United States. Hands down, period. ICCR is here. Ian Fuller is here from West Fuller, a pioneer in the investment business. Templeton is here. I heard John Templeton speak about the importance of Christian values in investing 30 years ago, and people seem to have forgotten that. Eli, you need to be on the stage at the CFA conference because the industry needs to get religion. Renee Manley, I'm glad you're up there at Harvard finally. And I'm on the board of various Harvard groups, so we're going to make sure your voice gets amplified. This is the revolution right here, because they can take our voting power, but they can't touch our economic power. And that's what we still have. And every day that we spend $1, I'm gonna wrap up. Every day that we spend $1, we are voting with our dollars. I'm on the board of a company called Good Unite Us. They give you a free app so that you can see what companies are giving their money to Republicans versus Dems. Y'all gonna hear more about it. It was the #1 downloaded app after the election, and we have an ETF too, but I'm not gonna talk about that now. GoodUniteUs.com, free app. Download it and see where your money is going. Renee knows, unions know. You vote with your feet. You vote with your dollars. Every dollar you spend. And then our other things focus on the investment side so you can see what companies are doing as well. I'm a sign.
Thank you, Dorian. I gotta
I'm
cue
done.
it up. I think I'm passing it over to Nadira now.
Here you go. Gotta go.
I know we can always count on Dorian to help amp us up a little bit more. Thank you, Dorian. So now we'll share a video that was sent to us by one of our funder partners, the Omidjar Network.
Hello, Majority Action and friends of Majority Action. This is Chris.
Elena.
Liam. From Omidjar Network. We're sorry we can't be with you today for your celebration, but we wanted to send a big congratulations and a heartfelt thank you.
Majority Action makes an incredible impact through talented staff, sophisticated research, but I think just as importantly, there's really no organization that had played such an important role in building these broad coalitions between everybody who recognizes that the capital markets need to change, right? From institutional investors to labor unions to racial justice organizations, like everybody who recognized that our markets and our community and our planet require a different approach. So grateful for Majority Action in your and Whitney and Bryant, we couldn't be more excited for you and for the field as a whole who's going to be benefiting from your leadership.
All the best.
Grateful to the Omidjar Network and team for sharing that message. We have received another comment from Agat Mason, Sustainable Investments Campaigner at Reclaim Finance. And she shares, we won't be able to attend, but we'd like to highlight the great work the Majority Action does. And thank you all for that. I find your Climate in the Boardroom reports very useful to push for the use of management proposed votes on climate grounds. And I also think that you are doing very important work with proxy voting advisors, which are key organizations to influence in the investment engagement area. I wish you all the best for the upcoming years. I hope you can continue to pressure asset managers in the difficult context of the ESG backlash. And so we thank Agat for submitting that comment. Now we'll toss it back to Whitney. Go for it.
Hi. Yes. Hi, everyone. We got me in the chat. I was trying to give my little hearts, but thank you for all the love in the chat too. It's just, it really does feel like a celebration. And I just really couldn't be so grateful. And I'm excited to also get in happy hour to be a little more informal as this little, yeah. But all this to say, yes, re-establishing where we're at. We're doing a software farewell and closing. Thank you all again for joining us. We also want to thank everyone who's just spent time, labor, strategy in the trenches. Our work continues, but we are just so grateful to be connected with you. We know through our connections we will win. And we also want to thank everyone who's given a financial gift and contribution. Thank you so much to all of our donors. Again, every amount, this is not the exhaustive list. I know people have been giving during the event as well, but thank you so much for your support, for believing in us. We promise to give you the best return on your investment as we can. It will be great. And we are just really so honored for your support here. And yeah, I think we're going to be moving into an optional happy hour, which is just a space for us to really kind of informally connect, hear any more thoughts, but also just have a little bit of fun. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, as Renee has reminded me last time we were talking about it. But Bryant, I'll kick it to you real quick too for any last thank yous of this formal program.
No, I don't want to hold us up, be the holdup between us and happy hour. So I do though want to thank our Majority Action team. A lot of work went into this behind the scenes, and this has run so smoothly and efficiently. Sorry. I just want to say thanks for the amazing support, and 100% team effort. And similarly, looking forward to working with all the folks on this call in a similar capacity, because it is going to be our collective team effort that gets us over these hurdles and into an economy and communities that we know we deserve and that we envision. I'll end it there, and hope to see everyone soon. So hope you can stay in contact with Majority Action.